Okay, so this was coming to my mind when you were talking earlier, and I was trying to kind of formulate my thought. The people who've been wanting to dismantle education, so I'm like not going to say Republicans only necessarily, because as you mentioned, like the plutocracy uses that sort of fake largesse to kind of distract from their wealth hoarding and their exploitation of workers. So it's like a lot of people pretending public education is their mission when it's really just like, you know, they're just operating on vibes. So they've had this like really powerfully crafted narrative trying to frame public education as failing, even though like families all say they love their public schools, families all say they love their child's education. So it's not really like families I feel like we need to get on board. It's the policymakers that seem most manipulated by this narrative and by the lobbyists and things like that. So like, how do we break through the anti-educator bias that like exists to the point where we are not even at the table when decisions about public education or education in general are being made, when action plans are being developed? There are no educators in those rooms making these choices. So like, what do we do to get to the policymakers to demonstrate that the educators and the practitioners are the experts in the field, not these randos with a vibe and money?
But I think, what you're describing is that the teachers should be at the table, and the only way you'll be at the table is one of two ways. One, run for office. And after the teacher strikes of 2019, there were teachers who ran for office and were elected. I can't remember, Tina Bojanowski in Kentucky was a special ed teacher who just got reelected for her second term. There was a teacher in Oklahoma who just got reelected. They will be in the room and they will be speaking for teachers. So that's one path. The other path is the unions, because when you have a strong union, you have someone who can go to the legislature and say, no, that's wrong. That's not going to work. We're not going to accept that teacher evaluation program because it's all based on test scores. And we've got all this evidence that teachers who have kids with special education or special needs, teachers who have a lot of poverty in their school, will get lower test scores than teachers in wealthy suburbs. So this is a flawed method. Don't do this. But you've got to have someone at the table, and the someone is someone who represents you, which would be the union. And this is why the plutocrats, and you're quite right in calling them that, have been trying their best and doing very well at killing off the unions, because they don't want you to have a voice.